Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 88 of the Not Joanna Eggs podcast. This week, Robbie and I are reviewing the 2019 Cartoon Network movie, Steven Universe the Movie. I am so sorry that this is getting out to you guys so late. Needless to say, it has been an insane month, and basically, a bunch of other things are taking priority, and we're really sorry that this is so delayed, but we had a lot of fun talking about it, so I hope that that's consolation. If you want to find us online, you can check out my Twitter and Instagram. My handle is @TCTroush. Robbie's is @lobster_writer on Twitter and @lobsterwriter on Instagram. As we are talking about the Steven Universe movie, there is going to be spoilers, so just, tread lightly. Thank you so much for listening, and we appreciate it. Take care. Bye. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Not Joanna Eggs podcast. I am Tracy.
And I'm Robbie.
We're reviewing something that I've honestly been kind of wanting to talk about for a hot minute now. It's been out for
17 days.
Yeah, it's been out for roughly 17 days at this point, so I'm like, I feel like we can talk about it now and not worrying about like spoiling it too much, but like, obviously, it's been all over the internet at this point. Like, you can't go on Instagram and not see it. Like, if you're actively looking at Steven Universe stuff or whatever, you're going to see it. But, we are talking about the Steven Universe movie. And, it was like, so I did not see it the day that it happened, which was technically on Labor Day. But I saw it a couple days after the fact. And, I thought it was quite the delight. A couple things I probably would have changed, but that's just me. And Robbie, your first time seeing this was roughly 20 minutes before we started recording this.
Now, I finished the movie a solid 35 minutes before we started recording.
Okay, you can, whatever. If you want to pick that nit, that is fine. Totally fine. I get it.
It's been picked already.
Yeah, it's been picked. I've picked all of these nits so much that there's a lice outbreak at our school. And we have to be sent home.
Is that what a nit is?
Yes, like where they find like the eggs and like little lice things.
Having never had lice, I didn't know that.
It's a thing. I have never had lice either, but I know that that's what they're called. So I don't know. I mostly am basing that off of another cartoon show. Anyway, yeah. So this movie is like
to learn about cartoons.
It was As Told by Ginger, because I really liked As Told by Ginger, and I can't find it anywhere. I've been really meaning to rewatch it, where when you get past the ugly animation style, the storytelling is very good. So,
yeah, I remember really enjoying that show.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but yeah, I've not been able to find it readily available anywhere. Like, I don't know, I haven't even tried Hulu, but that's beside the point. Let's talk about Steven Universe, the movie.
Let's get back on. Oh, what the fuck?
What?
Okay, sorry. No, now I'm looking at As Told by Ginger. Anywho.
What? Oh, yeah. So
you can't rent it on Amazon. It'll show it to you.
No, you can't, because they only made 2 DVDs. They made 2 DVDs for the movies. Like there was Far From Home or something like that, and then The Wedding Frame. Like there were only 2 DVD things. Sure. I'm like, what the fuck, Klasky Cupo? Get over your shit. And stop giving
shit together.
Nobody wants the Wild Thornberries. We want As Told by Ginger and some seasons of Rugrats. After about season 5, it gets kind of shitty. But anyway, I don't want to be banging the Klasky Cupo drum anymore.
Not beat the Klasky Cupo drum anymore. We're here for
what
Steven
else is there
Universe.
To say? Bring us As Told by Ginger. I want to start a fan campaign right now because maybe someone else also liked it.
Whatever happened? All right, I'm stopping. I'm cutting this off.
This is fine.
I'm cutting it off. All right, so the Steven Universe movie released on September 2nd of 2019.
Yep. Man, there is like, they obviously put a ton of like work and money into this thing because like the animation's fucking gorgeous.
Oh, it's beautiful. Again,
and the entire thing is a musical, obviously, because you can tell like they've been meaning to do it for a while. I think, what was it? The Mr. Greg episode was, I think, them attempting to, like, see if they could test the waters and if people responded to it. And then they're just like, fuck it. All right, we'll do it. That's fine.
I think also, like, it's pretty... I mean, music is just so sort of, like, central to Steven Universe that's not shocking, right?
It's very heavily tied into it because, I mean, within this movie alone, it should be noted that there's, like, over 20 songs. I don't think that that's including the score, but... it does have like reprises and stuff and everything, but the songs in general are like
catchy as fuck. Like, most of them are fantastic.
Oh,
some of them
so good.
didn't stay with me as much. Like, I liked Bismuth Song, but it didn't stay in my head like some of the other ones did. But
Bismuth Song was pretty fun.
The only one I didn't really like was Disobedient, but I just don't like that kind of.
I
don't like the Sadie Killers music. Sorry.
I mean, I think that song just needed to be a lot harder. Like, that needed to
You don't think that they rocked adequately?
I think they rocked adequately for a children's show.
Yeah.
I think that in reality, if you were actually writing that song, it would be like much harder rock.
Like a lot more 4-letter words, like
I don't even know if 4-letter
using
words
pig's
necessarily.
blood, like at the old
I'm not
bombed
talking
out
about
warehouse.
Satanism, Tracy. Calm down.
It could be the next logical step for Sadie if she's. Come on, haven't you met some severely disillusioned retail workers that got into Satanism or the Juggalos or both?
I know one open Juggalo. She is the exception that proves the rule. Juggalos
Really?
are fucking crazy, and I'll say it now.
Yeah, they're weird. They do too much property damage shit, and you can't convince me that Fago is good. Sorry, boys.
Oh no, that was
a couple girls.
Fun story about that.
Oh, what a weird transition, but all right.
A friend of ours came down to visit me at grad school once, and we went to the store to buy soda to go with booze, and he ended up he did the math to figure out how much more cost effective it was to buy Faygo than to buy Coca-Cola, which
Really?
is to say, like, I mean, have you met Josh?
I mean, no, I have, but like I would have just bought the store brand, but that's because I'm cheap.
He bought the Faygo because it was the cheapest.
It was cheaper than the store brand because Coke brands
I
are
don't know if
usually
they
on sale.
have-
I spend too much time in grocery stores. Don't mind me.
I mean, it wasn't a grocery store. It was a gas station. So there's
Oh,
that.
okay, fair.
But so he bought the Faygo, and after about 2 sips, he was like, this was a bad idea.
What kind did you guys end up getting?
Like, whatever standard version is. Like
Like the orange one or something?
no, like fake Coca-Cola Faygo.
Is that what Faygo is?
I mean, there's a version of it that is.
Okay, because I thought they did like grape drink. I thought they were like a poor
Oh,
man's
they definitely
Fanta.
also do that stuff, but they also have just like Faygo that is just like
Ew.
extremely bad Coca-Cola. Like,
Ew.
it aspires to being Royal Crown level of
What,
fake
you boys are
Coca-Cola.
too good for Mellow Yellow?
God, I love Mellow Yellow. Don't get me started.
I don't really want to draw any ire from Juggalos. If you were a Juggalo and you listen to this, reach out to us. But, you know, don't like send us shit in the mail, please. But yeah, so it's Steven Universe the movie. This yeah,
good.
It's a lot of fun. So I think that overall, like the way that the story is delivered and everything, because so it starts off with the classic storybook opening thing, which obviously they were trying to do it like the very grand Disney overture style thing, like, and we're talking classic 50s Disney movies.
Oh, I think earlier. I think like 30s, 40s.
Well, kind of both. They did it for like pretty much anything from, oh boy, I would say, like, honestly, probably from like Snow White onward.
Well, yeah,
or
right.
at least into like the late 50s, early 60s, like probably ending with Sleeping Beauty.
That's what I mean, though. It's like Walt Disney musical from when Walt Disney was alive.
Yeah, and not during the post-Walt era, which took a while to get its footing. But I love the whole concept of them just trying to do the book thing because, like, it's, number one, it's a cute story device, and I think that they were trying to sort of intend it to be, hey, if you have no exposure to Steven Universe, then we'll give you the entire story before it happens. But like it also ends up becoming kind of a plot device thing because it's being televised, I guess, all throughout all of the colonies that Homeworld occupies.
I mean,
so it makes sense. But at the same time, if you were coming into Steven Universe completely blind, there's a bunch of inside jokes that I think that you will just straight up miss. You'll still probably find it entertaining.
Yeah, I think it's really good, and there's probably, I think, some things that maybe just aren't as fun for you.
Yeah, like the whole kind of things where you like see a visual gag and you'd be like, ah, it's that thing.
Yeah, I think, like, for example, just the presence of Cat Steven is not as fun if you don't know about Cat Steven. Otherwise,
That's
you just
true.
think it's a really cute cat, which it is.
It
he
is a cute
extremely
cat.
cute, even though he's got a little eye scar.
Yeah, it's okay. I love that. Like, I don't like the Diamonds being former fascist dictators because, I don't know. The redemption thing I think was way too rushed, but I love seeing them singing together as the Andrews sisters.
Oh
it
my
makes
God,
me
them-
laugh every single time.
They're so good. I wish I could remember, because obviously it was a few hours ago when I watched this, but one of my notes just says "white, please."
Yeah, I know.
I think she's just so extra in this movie in general, but also, like, I think in the two moments she gets, she's just so over the top in some ways.
Absolutely. Well, it's like she's basically Steven's like potentially formerly racist grandma. And like I love that like she's so casually like judgy about certain things, which I like.
Oh my god,
she's so like hesitant about just being like, okay, they're equal life forms, and she's like, wow, your apartment sucks. We are not gonna live here. This place is.
She's definitely like the rich, like bougie grandma.
Oh yeah,
like the guilt at the end of that movie, at the end of it.
Yeah, where she does like the whole like the walking away thing, like, oh, I guess we'll just see you when you visit.
Yeah, like you're like, oh, that's classic guilting mother. How dare you?
Exactly. But like that was kind of why I liked it, because she got like most of the best lines, I think, at least in terms of like gags and stuff, and also Peridot talking about like, no, I'm gonna lose all my character development. I'm like, we can't have that.
That was a pretty good joke. Also, like, kind of already happened.
It did, but I just like that they had a little nod thing to it. It was cute.
Yeah, I think it's a cute joke.
Let's talk about the overall plot, because I don't want us to jump over too many things.
So let's just give you the rushshod version of this thing, which is, so 2 years after the finale of the last season, Steven announced he's going to live on Earth, which the diamonds are not happy with, but they accept it. And when he goes back to Earth, he's just kind of enjoying like being on Earth and not having a lot of like problems. And then, shocker, a problem appears. And
it's standard,
Yeah, because that's how plots work.
It's like, you took a break, here comes the plot.
What it is it's another gem who has some kind of honestly like killer decision on the design, a scythe that basically does a hard system reboot of gems.
Oh yeah, it's like the idea of giving her a scythe is just like it's obviously because like she's a harbinger of death, not just for gems but also for people, which I liked. It was very thought out. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's perfect. In that she basically hits everyone, like all the gems and Steven, and so the gems poof, and then they hard system reset to the point they were when they originally popped out, right? And she also gets hit with that, so she goes back to what she used to be.
And there's also a ticking clock of this gigantic injector that is like dumping poison into the earth.
Yeah, something we find out as the movie progresses. Steven is both trying to get the crystal gems back to what he knows, and trying to get Spinel, who is the villain, back so that she can stop the injector. So in that, there's a lot of things that happen inside of that, but that's like the basic plot, and then it ends when they manage to get everyone's memories back, and then there's sort of this big fight scene with Spinel and the gems and Steven, and then the diamonds appear at the end of that fight and take Spinel and go back into space, and Steven stays on Earth to fix the fallout of the injector, which exploded and also injected all of its poison into the planet before the end.
This is where I've got a couple of issues, because like they kind of explain sort of, like how Steven's basically going to kiss the earth to make it better, which I was like, okay, that's cute, but seriously, everyone's going to die very quickly. So there must be an easier way for you to be able to do this. Mayhaps he could ask Spinel to like, hey, I'm going to cry or I'm going to spit into this gigantic injector thing. Can we dilute it to help it go inject into the earth again to heal it? Because like it is just kind of like left there. Because like presumably if Steven's just going to be doing that for like what years? Because he has to get throughout the rest of the earth, right? It's a weird plot hole. I don't know.
I guess. I mean, it's just not something that the movie is overly concerned with, right?
I know.
The
it just seems
just
convenient
that
they forget about it. That's the only thing that I had an issue with.
I mean, they don't really forget about it so much as just like we see like a progression over time of the Earth healing.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like, so I'm just thinking of like, if that's literally what he did, like he must have just kissed himself nearly to death again. And Lord
I
knows
mean,
I've been there.
They gave him buckets of water. Garnet, listen, Garnet said it. You need a lot of water if you're doing a lot of kissing. She gets it.
Hydration is very important for smooching. And she looked at Connie directly. So she's like, hey, I'm shipping you two. You need to listen to what I'm talking about, because she's probably using her future vision on Connie.
In fairness, Connie did give Steven a kiss before she left for space camp, which was super cute.
It's true. As long as Garnet isn't cursing her, I'm fine with it.
Yes.
I don't think she would.
Well, so that's sort of the roughshod plot. Let's talk about, there's some things I really just want to sort of like point out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Which are some of my favorite bits. God, I really
I feel like we're going to have a reasonable amount of overlap, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, here, let's start off with this. What was your favorite song? Because there's obviously a ton of them.
Oh my God, that's really hard. How dare you?
Okay, how about, well, narrow it down to top 3, because Other Friends is clearly going to be on there. So that one's a given, basically. Spinell has, like, a fantastic villain song, because they're just like, we have to do electro swing. We haven't done another song style. And, like, I like that that's her theme. It's fun.
So I think it became really clear to me in her intro. One thing they always do in terms of, like, the characters is all the characters, or all the gems at least, have an associated instrument, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can feel that instrument hitting when Spinell jumps into the scene, right? And it's like, it feels dissonant with the rest of it.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's like a minor synth string song, or like something similar to that. Like, that's how it sounded.
Yeah, that was good. I don't know if Who We Are was a favorite, but I think that Uzo Aduba crushed it. I was so happy that they got her in the movie. So that made me happy. I mean, honestly, I think just the True Kind of Love.
Oh God, it's so great. Like, so
it's
apparently
so
Chance the Rapper co-wrote that with Rebecca Sugar, I think.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my fucking God. Like, the instant I found out about that, I was like, yes, thank God.
Yeah.
Because I knew that he was involved, I just didn't know what song.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's fantastic.
So those are, I think probably it's going to be that. Other Friends, God damn it, Who We Are, and True Kind of Love. So what are yours?
Fair. So I've got 2 overlapping with you. Other Friends, True Kind of Love. But, so here's the thing. It's kind of a stalemate thing between System Boot Pearl, because I just love her little sing-song.
It was very cute.
She becomes a little exposition machine, and she's so adorable, and I love her. Especially, like, where she has, like, the little smile after she says Pearl, and I was like, yes! Oh, that's so cute. But, I would say overall, I have found that I get No Matter What stuck in my head a lot more frequently, which is the song between Steven and Amethyst when he's trying to help Amethyst remember who she is.
Man, that one, yeah.
Yeah, I love the call and return kind of thing of it, where it's like he'll say one thing and then she'll repeat it back. Because like I love that kind of style of song, or how it's got kind of a tap dancing thing to it, and I was just like, yes, sign me up, all of it.
Yeah, it's super good. And in honesty, I mean, Steven and Amethyst is probably my favorite relationship in the show.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because I think because they're the characters I relate most to, but
absolutely.
It
was just so cute. Like, you know, like, admittedly, so the whole thing of like Steven trying to help them remember who they are and everything. Amethyst is the first one that he helps out, and then from there he's like, the rest of it's just kind of like a puzzle thing. They have to like figure out what all of their personality aspects are to like help them remember.
Yeah, well, so I think that's probably, again, if we want to kind of dive deep down into this thing, I think that makes sense, because I think at the end of the day, if you like look at the series as a whole, Steven has always obviously like been able to connect to each of the gems individually in his own way, right? But I think it takes a lot of growth for him to really be able to connect with Pearl and Garnet on a certain level, right? Whereas like things with Amethyst for him for much of the series are kind of easy, right?
Yeah, well, like, in general, they have so much in common.
That's what I mean, right?
Yeah, so, because Amethyst was basically a blank slate when she came out and everything, and she's basically been kind of like a big sister to Steven. She's the youngest of the gems. She does not have that much exposure to Rose, all of that, so...
Right, exactly. So I think on a grander narrative level, it definitely makes sense, both in terms of, like, she's I mean, in terms of she's the youngest, as you said, but also she is, I think, on some level, one of the closest to Steven in the show.
Yeah, I mean, like when they have the flashbacks. This is not related to the movie, but when they had the flashback episode when Rose met Greg for the first time, like she may as well just be kind of like the insert for Steven, because she has the same amount of enthusiasm and curiosity for everything.
Just like,
and she's so freaking cute too.
I love her. I love
Kitten
her so
Amethyst
much.
is like the best Amethyst.
I know. Well, I think my favorite thing about that we see of Amethyst as a baby in this is, without even really understanding why, she just immediately starts transforming into other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Like she'll mimic Pearl's body language, like all of it. It's so cute.
Well, right, but she it's one of my favorite bits in the movie is that Pearl, my Greg universe here, and puts an umbrella over him, and then she's just staring at the two of them and then turns into Greg, and Pearl is like, wait, this one? No, this one.
He's like,
wait, no. I'm not, like, it's just so good, and it's so funny because it is, like, I think on a core level, just that goofiness is Amethyst.
Oh yeah, and also because Pearl, all she knows is how to like follow orders, basically.
Right.
So she's like, of course, she just wants to do whatever she can to make Greg's life easier, and he's just not having it. Where he's like, Pearl, you don't have to wash the car. I own a car wash. It's fine.
I mean, how weird would that be to have someone who, like, you've only recently started to actually get along with suddenly be, like, subservient to you, like, obsequious?
It would be extremely strange, number one, because, like, she has none of the emotional baggage that Greg does of how Pearl had treated him before.
Right.
And it's just like, oh, no. But, like, admittedly, like, he doesn't, like, if he was a worse person, he probably would have tried to take advantage of that, but he never does that.
Yeah,
he's like, no, Pearl, it's okay. Like, he still treats her as a person. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
God,
Greg is a fucking champion.
He really is. And, like, also just seeing Cotton Candy Garnet come back, which is really fun, too. And, like, she's just so enamored with everything. She finds a spork in the kitchen when they're, like, later in the movie. And she's like, oh, that's great. It's even better now.
I think one of my favorite bits in that, or when Ruby and Sapphire fuse again after the hard reset, and Steven's like, all right, I have to, like, go figure out where Amethyst is because my dad somehow lost her, which is just a hilarious bit in and of itself. But when he says, Bismuth and Dad, can you please watch Garnet? And Garnet's just sitting there staring at her hands. And Bismuth is like, I think she's got it covered. And I'm like, that's so cute.
Oh, Bismuth. You delight.
Yeah.
I also just like that Cotton Candy Garnet and Spinel are just like, they're just BFFs. Like, it's so cute. Like, they're just like playing together and dancing together and everything. Like, they're just having a good time being themselves.
Yeah, I do. I mean, so I just want to talk about this for a second. The fact that
go ahead.
Spinel is essentially a Fleischman 1920s cartoon dropped into this whole thing.
It's fucking great. It's like the fact that like her silhouette looks like Mickey Mouse. It's fantastic. I loved it. I love her little like she's got a great personality and everything, and it makes you feel even worse once you realize what her backstory is, because
once you understand her backstory, you're like, oh my god, okay.
I wanted to just state something. So and it should be noted that Spinel has her gem can rotate much like pink diamond / rose quartzes. She's the only other gem that we've seen do that. Yeah, it was a good idea. I'm glad that they did it.
Yeah.
You know, because it made sense for her character specifically too. But it's like, because her personality is completely different. When she gets onto Earth for the first time, she's vindictive, she's murderous. Like, she does not want to hear any of what Steven has to say. Like, you know, none of that stuff matters to her. But when she's transformed into her original form, she's basically supposed to be Steven's new best friend. Like, she's just really bubbly and fun. She just wants to play all the time. Like, but she's kind of like essentially a toy, which is like, man, that is a rough position for a gem to be in, because then that means that if she's not being played with or something, there's nothing else that she does. And I'm like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, right. I think my favorite, because I think it's well done, I think it makes a lot of sense watching the movie and seeing the way Spinel acts. Someone on Twitter I follow suggested that she's a good representation of what borderline personality disorder looks like.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I saw that online as well.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, like, I think the fact that I went into the movie with that in mind, I think it perhaps changes my view of Spinel. Like, I probably wouldn't have been I mean, I still would have liked her, and I think I still would have enjoyed her backstory, but I think it maybe helps me understand that character better.
Would you have found her less sympathetic if you hadn't known that in advance?
I think I would have had a harder time figuring it out, right?
Yeah.
But knowing that, and like, I mean, I won't say any more about this, but I had a student with borderline personality disorder once, and so like seeing a character that reflects that is interesting, and also like having that sort of idea in mind helps me understand it better, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got a relative who has it as well, and
really?
it's yeah. I mean, and the thing is that like they, it's just sad because like fundamentally they just want to be like, you know, they want to have a connection with someone else, you know, and everything, but they don't have the best way of forming it. So, and it's like, I think that that's very indicative of Spinell. Like she literally does not know anything different aside from being someone's best friend. If she has some kind of perceived abandonment or like the person's not giving her, you know, like enough attention or something, she flips out because it's like she assumes that like, oh God, I did something wrong. I have to fix this, like whatever it is. And it's just, it's tragic
Right.
because like she doesn't know any different.
Right. Well, and I think there's two good moments of that in the movie that like I think are good pointers of her being a character with borderline personality disorder. And it's, so when Steven goes to look for Amethyst initially, he goes, all right, Dad and everyone else stay here and watch Garnet. I'm gonna go find Amethyst. And Spinell goes, what about me? And he goes, well, just stay here with everyone else, I'll be back later. And she just immediately like death grips his hand and says no.
Yeah.
And he's like, or come with me. Right. And then
It's like initially you're just like, whoa, what the fuck? But and eventually you're like, oh no, that makes complete sense, you know?
yeah, right. And then the
She's
second
got
one,
trauma flashbacks.
right. Well, it's an actual trigger, you know, we can't use
Yeah.
that word anymore, but that's what it is. But then the second time we see it is sort of at the denouement of the thing, when she deactivates the injector and she sees the weapon she had, and thinks, oh
yeah, the rejuvenator.
Yeah, the rejuvenator, and that's the plan the whole time. And so immediately that's what it is, right?
Yeah, and then she just starts making assumptions about stuff, about like what Steven's thinking or what he's going to do and everything, even if it's not
Right,
accurate.
exactly.
Because she's so terrified of being abandoned again. There was another thing that I think kind of exacerbated it too, which was when they were at the concert trying to get Pearl to remember who she is. And they have like this elaborate song called Independent Together where, oh yeah, by the way, Greg and Steven fuse. His name is Steg and he is glorious.
Oh,
and he's got 4 arms for some reason. I don't know. I'll let it go.
Because he's a fusion.
I know, but like, I guess it's because they're not a perfect fusion. That's why they have extra arms.
Yeah, maybe.
But I was like, but they're not both gems. Like, should they have extra arms anyway? But you know, they had to have the double neck guitar. I get it. It made sense.
I'm talking about the pompadour.
Well, that too. I heard a lot of JoJo and Johnny Bravo references for that, or like people are just oh my god.
So remember, Rebecca Sugar has said, if you think it's an anime reference, it is.
Yeah. I'm starting to think that the crew really likes anime.
I know. Weird, right? I mean,
Yeah,
certainly that
bit.
pizza scene isn't an indicator of that.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. There's but yeah, no, so mentioning like after the whole Steg thing is that like Steven and Greg fuse together, so then they're just like, hey, as long as Greg isn't around, then Pearl doesn't have to be tied to, you know, like being a servant and everything. And then she starts to have flashbacks and everything, and eventually Amethyst and Pearl fuse together to form Opal, and then Steg and Opal have a duet, which is very, very cute. But at the same time, you see Spinell like you can see her like kind of reacting and stuff, like being kind of sad because she's like, well, what else do I do? She sees Garnet start riding off on Lion, and they're all floating in the sky and all that. And Spinell just seems like she's so sad. And then by the time she lands and everything, she just kind of breaks down and she goes back to like a warp pad or something just to cry by herself. It's like, it's just fucking tragic. Like,
really
I just want to give her a hug. I want to hug her so
I
badly, and I can't because she's not real.
Yeah, but she's just so well done, I think, as a character.
She really is. Like, they made her so nuanced with just in like one movie. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think if there's like two things that really drive her home, I mean, the thing that really drives her home is just watching when they go back to the garden, right?
Oh,
like,
God.
aside from, like, that whole scene is so beautiful, right? Because it's not just you're seeing the garden in disrepair, right? Like this overgrowth, and then you see it what it was supposed to be like, and then Rebecca Sugar may as well have leapt into my house and slashed my throat when Spinell sees the transmission and starts walking, and you realize that plants have grown around her.
Oh no! So we need to mention the thing about the transmission.
Yes, we actually haven't addressed that. Let's talk about that transmission early on.
And also, I just wanted to say, I really like the score that they had for the garden flashback, because I was like, oh, this is so cute and playful, but also haunting and sad. And that's exactly on brand for me.
Listen,
so
Ivy and Sarashu are amazing.
They're fantastic, and I'm pretty sure that like the entire soundtrack is on Spotify at this point, so it's completely seamless. So there aren't like any like distinctions between tracks and stuff. So if you want to just listen to the whole thing, you can. But let's talk about what happened to Spinell. Is that basically she was made as a toy or a playmate for Pink Diamond. They would go on to this little garden asteroid thing that they would play and hang out on and everything, and eventually Blue and Yellow decide to give Pink her own colony.
Right.
And Pink is basically just kind of embarrassed of Spinell, and she's like, oh, she took that saying of, in order to grow, you have to leave childish things behind. But it's not meant to be fucking literal, you stupid bitch. Like, I was like, so here's the thing. If you've talked to me about Steven Universe online at any point, and Robbie, you know this specifically, I have always hated Rose / Pink Diamond. Like, I've always just thought she was a giant fucking bitch, and now they're just like, oh hey, it's canon, she's a giant piece of shit. She was a product of her environment for sure. Like, clearly the Diamonds raised her, and very poorly, I might add.
Yeah.
But I was like, this seemed to be the straw that really fucked people up. Like, they hated her enough, and they're just like, oh, you just fucking abandoned Spinell because you could not just have a conversation with her and ask her to tone it down. What a fucking bitch. Yeah, this really got my ire. Robbie, proceed.
So she leaves Spinell behind, and then she tells, then this is the thing, right? Is she says to Spinell, God, I'll be right back.
No, she never says I'll be right back.
Oh,
she says she said let's play a game, and then told her to stand still.
So she waits there, and then she sees the transmission from the beginning of the movie where Steven explains, I am not Pink Diamond, I am her son, I used to be Pink Diamond.
You got that fucking foreshadowing, right?
Yeah, right. It's so well done.
Oh god, it's so subtle,
and that's
too.
Like, that's what breaks Spinell, right, is that transmission. So she goes,
because she was standing there for 6,000 years. She's like, oh, surely she'll be back.
Yes. I mean, that's what creates Spinell as a villain, right? And why she has these sort of issues. Yeah, I think that's as much as I need to say about, like, that bit, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I like that. So they inverted, like, as we mentioned earlier, the whole thing about, like, her questioning Steven once she sees the Rejuvenator. She's like, oh, what are you going to do? You're just going to reset me too? So you don't have to think about this, and you can just pretend it never happened?
Right.
You know, like, because she starts catastrophizing and everything. But, like, I like that because they haven't really done that with a lot of villains. Like, some of them they haven't really been able to win over, you know, like Jasper or something. Jasper kind of just remains the same up until, like, she begrudgingly does not try to attack them when Yellow Diamond gives her the side eye.
Right, right.
At the end of Change Your Mind. It was interesting to me because I'm not the biggest fan of doing all the redeemed villains and everything. Sometimes I just like people to be evil.
Yeah, but I think that's just like sort of an aesthetic question, right? Because that's sort of the stated thing for Steven Universe. That's never the case.
Their whole thing is that they're like, oh, there are no truly bad people, but I am in the camp, and I'm probably going to sound like a Helen Lovejoy type right now, is that I really don't think that that's a good message to give to kids, because I think it's a little too simplistic. I understand that this is how they have their world working and everything, but it kind of bums me out because I don't think that it's the best way to deliver it.
I think it's overly optimistic, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's a bad message. I just think that it's optimistic about the way in which people in the world work, that you can talk everyone into agreeing with you. And that's a much, much bigger question than our podcast has time for. No,
I know. And I agree that it's clearly meant in a much more idealistic way, but I'm going to differ with you on there where I don't think it's a good message. I understand what they're trying to do, but I think that, like, ultimately the whole outcome of it and everything, and I'll phrase it this way. because at the actual end of the movie, Spinell ends up going with the Diamonds back to Homeworld. Like, they're basically just like, hey, do you want to live in Pink's room? They just be like, we were going to turn it into a rec room, but you may as well live there, I guess.
Sure.
The thing that makes me kind of confused about it was that just if she has so much inladen trauma from Pink, I don't understand why she would want to go stay with the family that raised her, even if they have been like redeemed or have learned stuff from Steven and everything. I would think that she'd just be like constantly on edge, like being like, oh my god, I'm sleeping in her room, I'm sleeping in, you know, like I like her clothes are everywhere, like I don't know. I think that it seems like kind of a dangerous place for her specifically to go. I would have preferred to see her stay in Little Homeworld personally and get to know more of the gems there. So then she could still have a fresh start, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah, I think I agree that I would prefer the Little Homeworld ending. And I have seen that, like...
Are there fan comics of that?
No, I don't know. Because I've not looked into anything because I haven't watched the movie. So I haven't.
And you were trying to avoid spoilers, and that's almost impossible online.
Yeah, the internet is spoiler hell. No, so I have seen that sort of criticism of the solution. In some ways, you can read the solution of the movie as let's just send the abusers off to live in their own corner. I think that's overly simplistic. I have some personal issues with that, but at the end of the day, you do have this sort of resolution in which, like, the big villains kind of, like, exit themselves from everything, right?
I guess. I don't know. I think that the overall implications are kind of just what gets to me. Because, like, for me, and this is just how I read it, I get a very, like, whatever happened to Baby Jane kind of thing. Like, are they going to start dressing her in Pink's clothes or something? Like, what?
Sure,
like,
well, that's also, like, that's certainly, like, that itself is certainly an abusive behavior, right?
Yeah, and it's like, it seems to me that she's basically going into another codependent situation, and that's the thing that really makes me worried, because, like, I have, you know, like, if you've met, like, people who have trauma or who have, like, issues like this, they need a very solid support network. But the problem is that I am worried that her living with the Diamonds is implicitly about conditional love, where as long as she is entertaining to them, they will care about her. But she does not have much of a support network outside of them. And that's the thing that makes me nervous about it.
Sure.
So, and I know that, like, I don't know what's going to happen with it. I really don't. But that was, like, as a person who's experienced shit kind of like this, I was like, oh no. I wanted to just like pull her back and just be like, let's do one thing at a time, Spinell.
I think that's perhaps one of the weaknesses in what we have of Steven Universe, which is to say, I think certainly like the Diamonds pre-Change Your Mind, that's absolutely what it would be. I think the way that perhaps the movie wants it to read is that that's not how they're going to be anymore, is that they're more accepting overall, right?
Yeah.
Whether or not, I mean, I'm not saying you have to buy that. I'm just saying that's, I think, what the narrative wants to push.
I get that that's the kind of read that they're doing for it.
Yeah.
I get that. It's just like, I personally would want to be the friend to just be like, let's take this one thing at a time. You've got a lot of things to work out. I understand that friendship is difficult for you right now, but I think that ingratiating yourself into another family is going to be more stressful for you. That's just me. If I was going to psychoanalyze her, I would say, like, yeah, we need to get you to feel more stable and feel like you have more of a connection to your community. So, like, I would have liked to see her do more stuff with the Homeworld gems, because they'd only been there for a couple of years. So I think that they would have been the ones that would be able to show her what's going on, as opposed to her going into, like, the lap of luxury, basically. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm reading way too much into this.
I agree
but
with
it
you
really got to me at the end. I was like, oh, motherfucker. Like,
I mean, I definitely agree with you. I would have preferred, like, the mini Homeworld option for her. I think that would have been a better ending, ultimately. But I think also, I mean, it's on a narrative level, on a grander narrative level, right? Not even, like, considering the baggage of the characters in the narrative itself. Like, I think that's just a matter of, like, closing everything up, right? The problem with the Diamonds and the problem with Spinell, right? It's just trying to tie up all the loose ends. You know, and whether or not that works is sort of like a mileage may vary thing, but...
And honestly, like, so, and this is just another transition thing from here, what do you think that they're going to do with the series from now?
I have
because
no
we
fucking idea.
No,
this was one of my
no
notes.
one knows. Yeah, because, like, so we understood, like, essentially, so it's been announced, like, everyone knows that that Steven Universe is renewed for another season, but the problem is that, like, to me, the way that the story was structured, it sure as shit seemed like they were just trying to say, like, hey, guys, this is our last hurrah. We made a movie as, like, a tribute to the fans and everything or whatever. And
really
I don't know what the fuck
right?
they're going to do from here. Yeah, like, everyone has just been like, wait, so is it over? Like, what is this? And we know that they're doing production for it.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. I mean, that was what blew me away about Change Your Mind, is that felt like a series finale, right? I mean,
they were attempting to tie up as many loose ends as possible, even though we see that the trunk is open in the Steven Universe movie, like Rose's trunk that's in Lion's Mane. So he opened it at some point, so whatever was in there either wasn't important, or maybe they're going to try to pay that off and do like an in-between quill between like the Change Your Mind thing.
Yeah, that might be worth consideration. I don't know. I really
Possibly.
don't know.
Or maybe they just did it to fuck with them, just be like, hey, whatever was in there doesn't matter. So bye.
Yeah,
Stop speculating
it's just
on
there.
it.
It just is.
Yeah, it just exists. Can't you just have things?
Can't you just have set dressings? No, that's literally one of my notes is like, between this and Change Your Mind, I don't know where we go from here, right? Because, like, the most I can see, and I don't even think this would be, like, a good plot line, right, is if there's a plot line in which, like, one of the colonies rebels, but, like, you know, that just feels kind of weak, you know, compared to this and Change Your Mind, right, where we have these sort of, like, massive things going on that, like, signal not only, like, an ending, but also, like, a massive shift in things outside of Earth.
I'm kind of concerned because I think that there's supposed to be some kind of storyline that's based around either where the diamonds from, who made them, like what their real purposes are, like, you know, or if they're extracting, you know, power or energy resources, whatever the fuck, from someone else. Like, there has to be a reason why they exist. And the reason I say this is because I think that the showrunners use Ronaldo as like a proxy character, because like they'll have him talk about some certain things that end up happening. And I think I heard something about like snake people being mentioned on a podcast before.
I would be furious if there were fucking snake people.
I would be like, I really hope that that's not true, because like it will be such a shark jump. And there's only so many things that I can suspend my disbelief for, Robbie. That is where I have to draw the line.
Snake people's the end for Tracy. Well, for me, it's that actually feeds into a real life conspiracy theory about lizard people controlling the world, which is I don't have it. I don't have it immediately right now.
It's like between them and flat earthers and juggalos, I don't know who I hate more. But
flat earthers.
I don't really hate juggalos. I just don't understand them.
Actually, I think there's a documentary about.
I don't know enough about them to hate them. I really don't.
Watch Behind the Curve. It's very good.
Behind the Curve? Okay.
It's a documentary. It's on Netflix about flat earthers, and it actually it initially seems like it's like.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it was a documentary about juggalos.
No,
like, what the fuck?
I have nothing. I have nothing there. Do not ask me to say much more, because I've got nothing.
What else is there to say?
What else is there to say? They like Insane Clown Posse.
And they like Faygo, and they don't understand how magnets work.
I mean, does anyone understand how magnets work?
I don't fucking know how magnets work.
Bam. Anywho, I do want to, I don't have a lot more, but I do want to ask this question because it's amusing to me, which is this. At the end of the movie, in the crater left by the exploded injector, Greg's van just drives into that, no problem.
Yeah.
Do you think they souped up Greg's van to be some kind of all-terrain van? I secretly think so. If
this was like actual physics or whatever, that van would be so top-heavy it should have toppled over.
Fucked.
Yeah, like, he should have fucked his van up like hard. But also Pearl was driving, so maybe she was being more careful.
Pearl is also a professional drug addict. No, how dare you? Let me say that again. Pearl is a professional stunt driver and bassist.
Like, yeah, honestly, she can do pretty much everything.
I do love that joke at the beginning, though. I'm learning to play the bass.
Play the bass.
I've tried explaining to her that's bass.
B-A-S-S spells bass.
So good.
I mean, she's not wrong. But,
that's like a perfect joke on English as a language.
English is a fucking weird language. It always has been.
It hasn't.
They're just
always
like, hey,
been,
let's just have the same word, but it means like 4 different things. And by the way, which spelling of 4 did I use? Does it matter? No, it doesn't. It's English. Fuck you.
It's English. Fuck you.
Yeah, that should be like the slogan on Duolingo, where it's like, are you trying to are you doing ESL to better your job prospects? It's English. Fuck you.
I could absolutely. I mean, I think I've read a story of this where someone misunderstood homophones or homonyms and like,
Oh, yeah.
no, it had to be homophones,
Oh, yeah.
and just like broke down and was like, I don't understand your language.
It's stupid.
It
It's
is.
always been stupid.
So, any other further thoughts about Steven Universe the movie?
That's honestly most of what I've got. I would say that in general, there's a lot of stuff that I liked about it, but like some of those plot holes I really couldn't get past. This is not the first time that has happened with Steven Universe, and it probably won't be the last. But in general, like if you are here for like the music and great animation and just like a really fun villain, absolutely watch it. I would recommend that you watch the series before you do, because a lot of the shit won't make sense. Like pretty much nothing with the whole like the diamonds and everything will make sense to you if you have not seen it, but at least you won't get the stakes of it, really.
I think what you really will lose out on by not knowing about the series is simply Bismuth, Peridot, and Lapis Lazuli, because they're in the movie, but like...
And also, like, Connie, too, really. She doesn't get a ton to do. They're just like, we're just going to send her ass to space camp, whatever.
I was honestly a little salted that she, like, plays such a minor role in the movie. Granted, her minor role is kick-ass. She cuts a car in half.
True. And like, frankly, admittedly, she got more to do in Change Your Mind, you know? Like, she was there as, like, the emotional crutch for Steven when he was
She's
going
such
through some tough times.
such a major character everywhere else.
She really is. Like, Connie kicks ass. She's grown so much from like the start of the show.
Great.
It's awesome.
She's great. I was also, I mean, like, you just won't, you probably just aren't going to enjoy Lapis and Peridot as much if you haven't seen the show. Bismuth gets enough sort of like room in this movie to do something. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the only thing you'll enjoy about Peridot from the movie is that she has little robots which have the same sunglasses that she does.
Yeah, it's very cute. She's got the flask robonoids that have new little glasses just like she does.
Yes.
I don't know why they have little glasses, but I like that they have little glasses.
Because Peridot's a fucking nerd.
Yeah, I guess. It's just that gif of Homer Simpson, like, out the window. Nerd!
That's all I've got. What about you, Tracy?
That is everything that I've got, too. Mostly... I don't know when new episodes are going to be coming because Steven Universe it's so plagued by a hiatuses. I'm starting to think that Cartoon Network is treating it kind of like those weird, like the robot people, or where whoever those humanoid people in the Minority Report are, where like they just sit in like a pool of water and then they start thinking things all the time.
Oh, the
precogs.
Like
new events happen. Yeah, those people.
So literally,
I was like, that's what Cartoon Network feels like right now, or something.
The reason that Cartoon Network does these stupid blocks is that they find
the Steven bombs are fucking dumb.
I mean,
I
like
them.
getting consistent Steven Universe, but only because I'm otherwise starved for Steven Universe.
If they put them on like every week, they wouldn't have these weird gap things to worry about.
But that's what they're doing.
I don't know.
It's a bad strategic move, which is if they know that this is like say April, the week of April 9th is a slow ratings year point usually. They'll put a Steven bomb there because they know it will create a ratings spike at that time.
Yeah, but it's like they're clearly not that worried about it because they still play Teen Titans Go like crazy.
Sure.
I don't know. Inexplicably,
I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying that's just sort of the mentality that it works off of.
It just bums me out because like I feel that they keep losing people watching it when they do that all the time. Because then if people miss those, you know, like the Steven bombs and everything, like I'd rather just see them consistently, you know, like maybe just like a new one every week. I know it's probably kind of archaic at this point because of, you know, like they're designing it to be like bingeable, you know, like they want you to watch all of it either like once or every single night. But it's just, I don't dig it. I wish they would change it.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people have complained about it. Like they had a hiatus that was over like 6 months. And then there'd be like 2 episodes and then another hiatus for like 2 months. And it's just, ugh, it's exhausting after a while.
It's a pain in the ass. So, yeah that's it for
boy. Yeah, that's all I've got.
Steven Universe movie. Tracy, where can they find you online?
Thank you, Robbie. They can find me on Instagram and Twitter via @TCTroush. You can find our show website, notjoannaeggs.tumblr.com. We also put our episodes up on YouTube. You just look for Not Joanna Eggs. You should see our little head logo or little purple, yellow head logo thingy. That's pretty much it right now. Robbie, where can they find you?
As always, you can find me on lobster_writer on Twitter and lobsterwriter on Instagram. Also, it's out now because it's September. There is an actual play episode that I hosted on internationalpodcastmonth.com that you can find if you want to listen to me there. It was so much fun.
It was cute. I listened to it. It was very fun.
Good.
You seem to be having a good time.
It was, it was so much fun. I think I laughed as much making it, editing it, and listening to it each time, and I laughed at all the same moments.
I believe it. I mean, they were a fun crew. Like, I like listening to them. Like, all the joke transitions, I was like, hell yeah. Very much on brand for you.
Thank you. I'm very proud of it, so please go listen to it.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if guys, if there's anything you want us to check out, please let us know. Like, I do apologize that this is getting out like so late and everything.
Yeah,
shit's been fucking crazy. There's no other way I can say it.
The world's falling apart. We're falling apart. Yeah. Everything's falling apart.
It all keeps tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down. Yep. Watch the end of Ava.
Oh, the only solace in life are cute animals.
It's so true because that's all. That's pretty much everything I send on Twitter at this point. But yeah, so we appreciate you guys listening. The what? You're gonna look at cute animals too?
I said I'm gonna bother this cat looking at my cat.
Oh yeah. See, I gotta bother my cat too. She's bored. She's watching Kent play video games.
So we're gonna go bother our cats. Thanks for listening.
Bother. All right, we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks again so much for listening. Our intro music is Don't Hold My Breath by Ben Briggs. The outro is Wet Dreams by Phonetic Hero. Both were found on ocremix.org. If you like the show, please subscribe, rate, and review us, or tell a friend to check us out. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Find the show website via notjoannaeggs.tumblr.com. Follow us on Twitter via @lobster_writer and @TCTroush. Not Joanna Eggs, because animation is for everybody.
I can't stop touching this embroidery dog face.